My name's Dan Croxen, John. I run a conversion optimization agency called AWA Digital. And I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes talking to you about why 95% of your website visitors don't buy and what you can do about it. So this is a very practical session. Firstly, it's interesting that Stephen Quinn from Evolution Digital talked about a funnel, because a funnel is a really good sort of paradigm to think about conversion optimization. So as Rob said, people are spending on average £92 and only spending £1 on widening this funnel. So the more people you get through this funnel and the more that they spend as they go through the funnel, the more likely you are to increase sales. Okay. So just to make sure I'm going to give you as much value as I can today, these are some of the common problems that AWA clients face, and they may be things that you also experience. So firstly, you are finding it more and more challenging and difficult to get qualified traffic to your website. It's becoming more expensive. You are literally drowning in analytics reports. They're pointing to the problems but not the solutions. You're bombarded by new marketing techniques, approaches, things, quick fixes that you've got no idea whether they're really going to pay off or result in some kind of career-limiting decision. And finally, you might have heard about split testing, but your team haven't had the time or the resources to invest in it. So hands up if you suffer from at least one of these problems. Okay, good. I'm at least in the right place. So I'm going to show you a surprisingly simple 5-step approach to improving your conversion rate on your website, which you can implement, okay? And it comes with a number of benefits, and these are just 4 of them. So when you implement it, and you implement it correctly, it delivers you more customers and more profit without spending a cent or euro or dollar or a pound on any more advertising or search marketing. It literally, your finance director and your board will love you at this point. The second benefit is that you can literally say goodbye to 80% of your analytics reports. I'm going to be showing you the ones that you need to keep and the ones that you can just bin away. And instead, you need to replace them with some simple feedback mechanisms that will help you understand whether your website visitors are experiencing a problem. And thirdly, a third benefit is that when you come to make a decision about the direction of your website, whether you're going to install a product recommendation engine, whether you're going to look at click and collect, whether you're going to have reviews on your site, it can actually help you decide whether that's going to make sense or it's going to result in a sort of career-limiting crisis, if I should put it like that. And finally, I'm going to talk about the key metrics that you need to focus on to optimize your optimization process, okay? These are 3 little known numbers. They're boiler room numbers that you need to watch and monitor and keep and pay attention to. Because these people do. This is a conversion superstar. So what separates the ASOSs of this world, the John Lewis's, the Argoses and the Tesco's from us, from the also-rans? And it is this: they split test. They split test a lot. And when they split test, they win, i.e. their results are positive. And when they win big, i.e. their split test results are in double digits. Okay. So this is often the situation we find some of the people we speak to in. They are not running split tests, there is no win rate, and clearly there's no uplift. So hands up if you might be in this sector, that you're not doing any conversion rate optimization at all. Right, there's some very brave people, everyone's doing it. Okay, so, and it's a shame, it's sad, because you're ultimately leaving money on the table. Because it's very, very straightforward. I'm going to show you how to get more people to go through the funnel and to transact online. So what's interesting is when we look at this statistic from eConsultancy, which is how important is A/B testing in terms of increasing your conversion rate, it's the #1 tool. And yet most of you, by your own admission, don't seem to be doing it. So let's look at how you could. So what would average CRO look like? So maybe you're running a split test every 2 months or 6 a year. The win rate is 40%. And when you do get an uplift, it's 5%, okay? 5% increase in revenue per visitor. So that's a 12% uplift there and then. Who wouldn't want a 12% uplift in sales? Get your hands down. Okay. And let's look at just improving that by 20%. Just 20%. So 10% might be an accident, 20% suggests you're doing something correctly. So we're now increasing our split test to 7 a year. We've now got a win rate of 48%, and the split test rate is 6% instead of 5%. So that's a difference. That 20% difference for a €3 million business is going to add over €250,000 to your business in terms of increased sales, okay? By just doing these 3 things correctly. So how do you do it? How do you deliver a 20% improvement in your conversion rate optimization efforts? So let's look. So this is the conversion system we use, and I'm going to show you how you can use it and go away and do these things yourself. Okay. So the first thing is about tools, okay? And this is the tool system that we use. So firstly, you have Qubit, which is a tag container. It's free for up to 1 million visitors per month. And we use Optimizely. There are other split testing tools out there. There's a lot of them, the proliferation of split testing tools. The important point about the split testing tool here is it means you can build a new variation without your development team being involved. Okay, so you're no IT team required until you've got a winning variation on your hands. Okay? Within the tag container, and the reason why you have a tag container is that this is easy to put in once you put in place the tag container. Firstly, you have online surveys. We'll talk a bit about Qualaroo. Qualaroo is a fantastic tool, cheap as chips, but it will give you incredible insight into what your website visitors are experiencing, the issues they're having. We also use tester recruitment. I'm going to show you how to recruit usability testers directly from your website, and they're going to answer some fundamental questions about why they're not converting. And finally, heat and scroll mapping. So a company called Crazy Egg, which you might have heard of. So these, once you have the tag container, you put these in the tag container, and then you're ready. But the most important thing about the tools that you need is the right mindset. And this is the most important tool you'll need if you're going to do this correctly. It's these 3 words: I don't know. And by having this mindset of I don't know, what it means is that you come to the question of why didn't my website visitors convert without prejudice, without hunches, without well-meaning opinions. You say, I don't know. To give you an example, this is Qualaroo. Qualaroo is the online survey I just spoke about. It also has a mobile version. So one of the things we did before optimizing a mobile website is find out why people came to the mobile website in the first place. The reason why mobile traffic is going through the roof, everybody knows, but mobile conversion is not going through the roof. Mobile revenue is not going through the roof, actually, in many cases. And the reason is because some companies have a mobile website which is primarily for browsing. And then the transaction is happening on the desktop. Not all, but some. So this is a survey that you can run on your mobile website. It's interesting that today's Mobile-ageddon saying, why did you come to this website? This mobile website. And what we found out in this particular case is that users of this mobile website were coming to browse, and then they were going to go to do complete the transaction on their desktop. So what is the optimization challenge here? It is not making it easier to buy from, it is making it easier to search and to navigate, okay? So fundamentally, if you don't know why people are coming to your mobile website, you need to ask them. This is a great tool. So the question is, how useful is Google Analytics to conversion rate optimization? Now, I started AWA as applied web analytics, and I've got 5 years history of working with Google Analytics, and I'm not here to say that it's useless, but there are times when it actually, you can't see the wood for the trees. Oh, look, you can't see the wood for the trees. And the point here is that there are 2 ways in which you can use Google Analytics very effectively. The first one is to look at your customer journey. So this is a typical customer journey. You start at the website, the homepage, category, product. Yours might differ, but primarily that's the major focus. And this is from one of our customers where people were dropping out. So who thinks we should go and optimize the checkout? No. We should optimize this. The biggest loss rate, the biggest attrition rate, is here and here. Okay? So it might be different in different businesses, but you start where the money is. The money is being lost here. There are huge numbers of people at this stage, very few people at this stage, and it makes split testing harder to do. Okay. The second use of Google Analytics that you need to use it for, and Universal Analytics, which is the new version of Google Analytics, and Google Analytics is going to be turned off in June 2016, so beware, you have been warned. You need to upgrade to Universal Analytics, and it will make this job far easier, is look-to-book ratios. So if you're selling online, you're selling products, you need to get your head around this, and it's very simple. So you have products, and you have an average number of views per product. So let's say, on average, a product has 400 views. And then you have products which get more than that, and some which will get less than that. And then you've got, this might be inquiries, so add-to-basket ratios. So what you're interested in is looking at those products which have high views but low add-to-basket ratios. So everybody's looking at them, but they're not putting them into basket. So if you've got high, two highs, you've got a winning product. If you've got two lows, you should remove or replace this. If you've got low levels but high levels of add-to-basket, you should increase the price or a bundling opportunity. But primarily, when you've got high product views but low add-to-basket ratio, you've got an underperforming product. And the issue here, like the previous slide, if I just go back, can anybody tell me why people are leaving at this stage? Just by looking at the data. Can anybody tell me why? Because I can't. And same here. I can't tell you why this is an underperforming product. In order to ask these why questions, why did you leave at this point? Why didn't you put this item into the basket? We need this guy. This is what's called a qualified visitor. So a qualified visitor is somebody on your website that you want to be on your website who's interested in your products or your services. They are not somebody who's come to look for your head office address. They are not some student downloading a picture for their PowerPoint presentation. They're not somebody looking for a job. And also, most importantly, they're not somebody who's part of a usability panel that have been paid to do some testing on your site. They need to be people you've recruited from your website directly. Okay, so how do you do this? So this is a tool called Ethnio. Write it down, E-T-H-N-I-O, Ethnio. Okay? And what it does is it serves a pop-up here. And it says, would you be interested in helping X brand help with some usability research in exchange for some kind of voucher? So in this case, it's £25. That is. And then when they press continue, they get through to another page, and it says, can you just tell us some details? So what you're trying to do is screen out the ones you don't want to have as part of your research program, and you want to screen in the ones that you do. Okay? Very simple. It's free for the first month, so, and then it's about $99 thereafter. So it's a great tool. And so once you've got these qualified visitors on your website, you can do this. You can do remote moderated usability testing. Who here has used Skype? Anyone use Skype? Who's shared screens? Yeah? Shared screens. So it's very similar. There's technology, companies like JoinMe or GoToMeeting where you're sharing screens. So what you're doing is you're getting your qualified visitors on, and you're sharing screens, and you're asking them to go through the journey of buying on your website. And then you're noting down where they're having difficulties. And you don't ask them leading questions, you just ask them to vocalize their thoughts. So you really get an understanding. And then you can ask them about the products as well. Now, if you're interested in this area, remote moderated usability testing, there's a great book called Remote Research, which is written by the people that developed Ethnio. So it's a fantastic way of really getting insight into what your users are thinking. Another great way is this. So going back to Qualaroo, so this is the order confirmation page. And if there's one thing that you do from this talk, it's to do this. So once you've installed Qualaroo, and it's 2 lines of code, you say, was there anything today, and bear in mind that they've just completed an order, was there anything today that nearly stopped you from ordering? So was there anything today that nearly stopped you from ordering? And the reason why you're asking that question is you want to understand whether there were objections or considerations or obstacles that they overcame. Because you can bet for the 95% of people who didn't get this far, these will be similar objections that they would have. Okay? So it's a great way of getting some insight. And it's free text as well. So it's not I wouldn't do a multiple choice. I would just let them write whatever they want to and then analyze the results thereafter. So that's Qualaroo. The second thing you can do is on those pages, do you remember the underperforming products? So high views but low add to basket ratio. You can ask them this question. Were you able to find what you were looking for? So is there something wrong with this product? Is there some missing piece of information that you need in order to add it to your basket? Okay? Alternatively, what information were you looking for? Try and keep it free text as much as possible, because you'll get some real insights. Or you could just say, be very direct, why didn't you add this item to your basket? You'll be surprised what answers people give. You only need 400 or 500 responses to sort of generate some consensus about the common themes. Okay? So that's using remote moderated usability testing and surveys combined. So the other way of doing it is just to get inside the heads of your customers. And the reason I've been encouraging you to use surveys where you get free text is to look at some of the questions that they're answering. So why did you buy from this particular website? I always got my mother-in-law flowers. It felt good that I did that. People think that flowers are quite thoughtful. I know that be looked at. It was a relief. So there's a variety of different personas here, each one solving a problem in a particular way when they're buying flowers. The other way that you can do this is to really walk in the shoes of your customers. And this is one of our optimizers working with a gardening company, and he's in the nursery with one of the people that deals with customers day in, day out. Okay, so if you've got a store network and you've got lots of people, or a call center, it's really worthwhile asking them why customers are having problems online, because you can bet that they will tell you. Okay, so we're still researching. At this stage, we're still researching. And out of the research phase, the customers and numbers, we get dozens of possible website improvements. And what you don't know at this stage is which one's going to deliver you double-digit improvements and which one's going to be a waste of your time, okay? Waste of you and your company's time. So the first thing is, if you've got weak evidence and you believe it's going to have a low impact on overall sales, ignore it. It's a waste of time. And by weak evidence, I mean one person said it in a survey, or your boss said it, or somebody mentioned it when you talk to the call center. What you're looking here, when you talk about strong evidence, is you're looking for a multiplicity of data sources. So your surveys say it, your usability testers say it, your customers say it, the Google Analytics supports it, okay? So that's strong evidence. If you've got something that you believe could deliver a higher conversion rate, but there's weak evidence, this I would suggest you park as a research topic to come back to later. If you've got small website improvements that you can chunk up into a large one, that's the way I would do it. But where you need to focus your efforts is on those improvements which will give you a big uplift and there's strong evidence for it. So a multiplicity of data sources. So here's an example of triage at work. And this is one of our clients. So these things here are the things that we focused. Fix the navigation drop-down, provide alternative product images, and enhance the product description. The rest, we more or less ignored for the first few tests, because this is where the biggest wins were. In fact, just by doing that, I don't think I'm going to have time, but we got 107% uplift by just pursuing those. 100% uplift in revenue per visitor in terms of split tests, okay? So you really need, once you've got the improvements, you need to prioritize ruthlessly. So you need a plan, and the reason why you need a plan is it keeps you scientific. What happens when you run your first split test and it's successful is your colleagues gather around you and say, that's fantastic work. Now I think we should test the background of the website being purple. You say, well, hold on, that didn't come out in usability testing, purple being a problem. So you need to focus on the plan, keep it rigid, and also record your results. There's a number of things that we've done where we've had what we call a negative uplift test, where the results were going south. And by looking at why didn't that perform well, we've actually turned it around. So it's useful to keep results on your plan, your optimization plan. So you've got a plan. So now how do you split test? Lots of people just jump in. I've got a hypothesis, it's a problem with the product page, I'm going to just sort it out. So this is what we do instead. This is Balsamic. This is a wireframe produced by Balsamic. It's a very cheap wireframing tool. Anyone can use it. And what we do is we also write the copy. We actually invest in professionally written copy, and it's super important to focus on words as well as images and layout. So we take the wireframe, and then we go and do this. We go back and get feedback on the wireframe, okay? And I'll show you how you do that, and there's 3 different ways you do it. Second is you design the new web page with their comments incorporated. And this is just a JPEG. It's not the actual web page at this stage. Then you go and get feedback again. And I'm only talking about 3 or 4 people. I'm not talking about legions of different people that you need to spend months and months trying to get their feedback. And then, only then do you launch the split test. Okay? So you've had 2 rounds of feedback before you launch the split test. And there's a number of times that our bacon has been saved by asking people at this stage, what do you think of the wireframe? Because you told us about this problem, here's what we think is the solution. And they said to us, no, you've got it wrong. That wasn't it. So we started again, but because it was only a wireframe, it didn't cost very much to restart that process. And because it's a wireframe, people are far more honest with their criticism because they know it's work in progress. Okay? So just to recap, once you've got your usability testers via Ethnia, you keep hold of them, keep in contact with them, because you're going to use them again. Okay? So you launch the split test, you report on the results, and then you update the optimization plan. And you might decide on the results that instead of going to the next test in the plan, that you actually try and tweak this current one further. Because there's a number of examples where we've got substantial uplift just by going back around and seeing if we can tweak it that much further. Because what you've proved in a winning split test is that you can change visitors' behavior. The question then becomes, how much more could I change their behavior? How much more revenue could I generate? So three ways to get feedback. The first thing is use your usability testers that you've recruited. Okay? They are great. All you need to do is get them on the phone, share a screen, just to look, this is the wireframe that we're thinking of using. What do you think? Make a note of their comments, and then adapt the wireframe. This is a tool called Notable. Okay? Notable is very cheap, cost-effective tool. And basically what you do is you upload your wireframe or the completed design, and you maybe ask your client services team or your call center team or the people in the shop just to add their comments to it, okay? Because they've got insight about customers that you might not have. And finally, there's a great tool that we use very regularly called iQuant, which is eye tracking studies. Go to the website and you can do it for free just to get you in the mood. But basically, the way that iQuant works is it's an algorithm. It predicts what the eye will see. So it's not live lab usable eye tracking. It's predictive. But all of these ways can help us fine-tune that split test. Okay? Time. So this is the finished article. You know, I showed you the wireframe first. This is the finished article. And there were a number of problems with the way in which this product page was working. The firstly is that it was saying add to quote. Well, actually it wasn't a quote, it was a basket. It was pushing people to go and look at the stock levels in store. It wasn't relevant. And really what they wanted to do was use the tile calculator. We also put buying in store, check the stock. That's a far lower level of prominence because most people just wanted to add it to their basket. And when we ran the split test, we got a 58% increase in revenue per visitor. And just let me tell you about revenue per visitor, because we talk about conversion rate optimization. It's a misnomer. It's not conversion rate optimization. So who would be happy with this scenario? I increase your conversion rate by 10%, and I decrease your average order value by 20%. Hands up who's interested in that? Okay? Who's interested in, I do nothing to your conversion rate, but I increase your average order value by 20%? Who will be up for that? Yeah? So the metric that you need to focus on is revenue per visitor, which includes conversion rate and average order value. So if both go up, great. If one goes up and the other one stays static, then that's fine as well. Okay? You should always, when you're selecting your split testing tools, always make sure that you can get revenue per visitor out of that data, okay? Not conversion rate. If you're a lead gen business, that's absolutely fine. Conversion rate is fine. Okay. So, facing the fear. I have to tell you that running split tests generate fear. It generates fear with us, and it generates fear with the people that we help to do it for themselves. And the reason it generates fear is because you're going to see exactly the output of your idea and your approach. And it's going to be black and white. And you're going to face the fear of looking stupid in front of your colleagues, wasting company resources, being wrong, because you could be wrong about this. We don't call it wrong, you just learn something. And that's true. It's not, I'm not being silly. You learn something every single test. You learn something. So it does face, there is fear. There is fear when you're checking the split test results as they come in, and I advise you don't check them every single day because you're going on an emotional roller coaster. It's a bit like buying shares. Look at them at a set point before you launch the split test. But I'll give you a story about fear, and a client's fear, actually. So we did some work with a medical supplier, and at this stage we had offered them a 15% guarantee uplift within 6 months. I mean, we now offer 20%. And the first split test had knocked that out the park. It's something like 42%. And the next test on our optimization plan was to do a price guarantee. You know, the type where you say, we guarantee our prices are lower than anybody else's, and if you find better, then we'll refund the difference and so on. So they were quite worried. They were fearful, I would say, about us doing this type of test, because they said, look, guys, you've blown your target out of the water. You don't need to do this test. And we had compelling evidence that price guarantee would work. And they were really worried. And we said, no, we really think it's worth doing this test. So much so that we actually backed this with money. We said, we'll pay the first £1,000 of any refund claims that are not offset by the extra sales that we generate. Okay, so we put our own money behind it. So we ran this test. And it didn't work. There was no evidence that this price guarantee did work. And what did we learn? Well, first of all, we learned to test. That was an important thing. We also learned that it didn't make any perceptible difference on sales. But the most important thing that client learned is that the price sensitivity that they thought they had in their clients and their customers, they didn't have. Their customers were not as price sensitive as they thought, because otherwise they would have gone for the price guarantee. Does that make sense? So face the fear and do it anyway. So 11 ways to guarantee CRO success. Firstly, learn to say I don't know, but how to find out, okay? It's really important that you're not qualified visitors of your own sites. You've been in it far too long, you look at it every single day. Your opinions, let me say this, your opinions don't count. They're not important. Focus on the key drop-off points in the customer journey. Understand visitor intent, especially on mobiles. Why do people come to the mobile website? Is it for the reasons you think? If you don't know, then go and find out and use something like Quality Mobile. Answer the why questions, and you can use that by using Ethnio to recruit qualified visitors. Run moderated usability sessions. Using a go-to meeting would be another example if that didn't work. Use a clear process to prioritize your improvements. This is really important. You could spend a lot of time working on the wrong thing, and you'd waste your time. And also, it would be potentially you undermine the optimization effort because you're not coming out with the results. Have a plan of tests, but be willing to wring out further tests from successful tests. And use Balsamiq for wireframing and investing in good copy. Involve your qualified visitors in fine-tuning these split tests. There's still a lot of opportunity to get more and more uplift out of this final creative execution phase. And then use Optimizer or any of the other popular tools to test variations without extra code at this stage. Once you've got an uplift, then you're perfectly justified to say to the IT team, we know this one generates more revenue per visitor than the existing one, so let's implement this one. But you've got a key message. And finally, feel the fear and do it anyway, that famous book. So, those are some of our clients, and on average, by using this approach, we generate over a 5,000% average ROI. That means for every pound they invest in conversion rate optimization with us, they get £50 back in annual increases in incremental sales. We offer a guarantee. If you'd like to come and talk to me or to the team, we're next door. But what does it mean to go from improved to expert? So this stage you might be running split tests, one a month, say. And let me just talk a difference between different types of split tests. There's a term called meeking, and it's the combination of two words. It's mild tweaking, okay? Mild tweaking is just meeking. So don't think that you're going to get great stellar results from changing button colors. It won't happen. You might get an uplift, but you won't get the kind of 10, 12, 17, 23% that we've seen we can get by being bolder and by focusing on the customer's needs and problems that they've had. I'll give you an example. I went to a presentation where Domino Pizzas were presenting, and they talked about changing their button colour from red to green. And I was so annoyed about this that it was really undermining what I believe about understanding the visitor, and it was the worst, in my view, the worst kind of optimisation, just changing a button colour. So I was so annoyed, I went and downloaded the accounts from Domino's, okay? They turn over £200 million a year. So that £2 million increase, the button change, developed them 1%, okay? But because they portrayed it as a £2 million button colour change, everybody was blown away. So don't get sucked into meeking, okay? If your test makes you fearful, it's probably a good test to run, okay? And there are ways of managing that risk. So you can launch it just to 20% of your audience rather than the whole lot, if it's very fearful. So that's the kind of results you can get by improving your conversion rate optimization. So what should you do next? In short, take what I've told you today and use it, implement it. I've given you some really powerful keys, and they work again and again. You'll be able to get your slides from the conference organisers, but a lot of these are just pictures, and they probably won't make sense without the transcript. So if you're interested, we're going to be around at the end of the session, just before lunch. So put your business card in the funky orange funnel, and we'll send you both the slide deck and the transcript of the talk. But if you've seen the power of what I've shared today, and you're interested in taking it further, but you don't have the time to make mistakes, you can't afford to take a detour, then we've developed a 30-minute training seminar on conversion rate optimization. It takes 30 minutes. It's on a conference call. We'll tell you the exact activities you need to be putting in place in your business to make conversion rate optimization work for you. We'll tell you the top conversion mistakes that often multi-channel businesses make, and we'll tell you if you're making them and how to eradicate them. And if you're already doing CRO, how to fine-tune the optimization process. Just to let you know, this is not a thinly disguised sales pitch. It's either going to be me or one of our optimizers spending as much time as we can in that 30-minute slot to give you as much value as we can. Because you're e-commerce today in Ireland, we're going to offer this for free, these training seminars. Normally, you can go to our website, and if you want to, you're happy, you can pay €675 for this 30 minutes of our time. But if you're interested, please see me and fill out a form. There are just a couple of caveats. One, you can't be a startup or a new business. You need to be serious about implementation. You need to be really hungry to make a success of your website. And as a consultancy, our time is our most precious commodity. So I'm only able to offer this to 3 companies here. If there's more, then we'll do a lottery. But you need to be turning over more than €3 million in online turnover to qualify for this. So just to recap, if you're interested in the transcript and you see the funky orange funnel, then put your business card in it at the end of the session. Alternatively, if you'd like more information about how to get CRO running in your organisation, then fill out a form when you see me at lunchtime, and we'll be in contact. So I hope that's been useful. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.